Just finished smoking this, but I wanted to show you what it is. Let me see how to do this. Well, anyways, it's. I can't believe I lived 34 years before I realized this. But when I was a kid in India, they used to make corn on the road, and they would just call it. We would call it butta. And what they would do is they would grill some corn um, in their little cart and add the spices and the lemon and the salt and everything and serve it. And it was really tasty. It was the best corn you can ever eat. Popcorn is nothing in comparison. But anyway, like Rajiv Dixit enlightened me. The foods in America are geared towards the phlegm constitution, and the India more towards the gas and the bile constitution. And black people too, I think, are more like Indians because they have more of the gas humor in them than white people, and that's why white people who don't have any air can't jump. That's why they say that. But anyhow, yeah. So what I showed you was a little thing I rolled with corn, the husk of the corn. This Ethiopian guy, I think it was, enlightened me, or maybe it was a Native American guy I met on the somewhere, who told me how his uncle, I think it was a Native American dude, yeah, he was a great guy. It was it was when I was hanging out with him, this happened to my car. But yeah, we hung out, he lit a little fire and cooked some food for me. It was great. But he told me how his uncle used to, well, he told me that they don't really burn the other plants that I was talking about, but they burn the cedar for purification, not the sage. But then I talked about smoking for purification. And then, no, I think it was the Ethiopian guy. He told me that his uncle used to use corn husks to smoke his things. So he would take this, you know. I mean, I found out about corn silk recently when I looked at Ayurvedic cigarettes that they were already selling in India and are getting quite popular. So so I started smoking corn silk, and it was nice because it was smooth. It really made my spliffs much more palatable, and it seemed to ease my lungs too and my throat. And then later I found out through a Chinese lady who was into traditional Chinese medicine, which is very similar to Ayurveda, that that's where acupressure comes from. And she told me that when you have that dry hacking cough, that means you have too much dry heat in your lungs, and that happens to us living in California in the summer and the fall. So she was drying that corn silk and making tea out of it, but you can also smoke it, to put it directly in your lungs if you want a more dry therapy instead of a more wet therapy. Corn silk has a property of, you can see it's white, so it has the property of the phlegm humor. So it's cold and it's wet, My buddy that I was smoking it with, he didn't like it because he smokes to relieve his mucus, and he has a lot of mucus, I guess. He's a young guy. So so he didn't like it because it would make him sneeze, because it would increase the wetness in his sinuses, But for me, it's okay sometimes when I have the dryness from the heat. So yeah, I just rolled it up. I rolled it up in it. It's just like a blunt wrap, It's really great. You should try it out if you smoke. But next, I was actually gonna talk about smoking. Well, smoking is a form of breath therapy. Healing using conscious breath control through your nostrils and your nose. And there's many different pranayamas, which are breathing exercises in yoga. And I have done at the Toastmaster Club a speech about this topic. But the simplest form of breathing is obviously deep breathing. You take a deep breath in for like a few seconds as slow as you can. And then you exhale even slower than you're breathing. Try to exhale at twice the time that it takes you to inhale. So hold it for a couple seconds. Slowly exhale it to the zenith, the new moon, the 0 point. And then the moon grows to the full and you get the most energy. All right. So there's the downward moving air and the upward moving air. And that's the feminine, the nourishing, the masculine, the wettening, the drying, the resting, the active, the energy, the consciousness, the hips, the head, and so forth, as I talked about in the other video. So, but then you also have the feminine and the masculine on the two halves of your body, not just in the external world. So you have the left side and the right side. And I've made if you check my SoundClick channel, a rapquake SoundClick, we have some old videos older songs, and podcasts that talk about this topic and other political and social stuff. But so I already showed you the deep breathing. The second level, or the second exercise actually, that is common and very, very powerful and relaxing, is called alternative nostril breathing. And this stimulates the two sides of the brain and gets them working together, so you can have the center of your brain, the corpus callosum, the middle path, can be activated and can work and get you to use more of your brain instead of just that 3% or 4% that we supposedly only use in our little head. So how you do it, you start with the left side, which is the feminine side. So you take it in, you take it out, you take it in, take it out. So it's kind of like they also do this with a string, a plastic or a cotton or something string, rope, and they take it through the nose, through the mouth, and through each nose, and it's just cleaning that sinus area, stimulating it in a more rough fashion. But smoking is also a rough way to do it. You can also snort powders, but oil is a more wet kind of, more lubricating, nourishing kind of therapy on the sinus. So there's also steam therapy. I've already done a lot of it because I believe air pollution is the number one pollution today, and it's the most critical pollution. Air and water is basically our life. Basically, like I said, it's the three elements. The main three elements is our air, which is the subtle one. Then there's water, which is the physical one, which Earth also is combined with. And then there's the fire, which water and air are mixed with. So those are the three humors that everything in the whole world is all about. Just like man is the fire, woman is the water, and the child is the air, or the result, or the conclusion, problem, reaction, solution for the dark side. And logic, what was it? Grammar, logic, and rhetoric, or knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Anyhow, that was some explanation about the breath. So you can cool yourself very easily just by taking air in, right? By focusing on taking the air in. And if you think about it, there's two ways to take air in. And if you take it through your mouth, just like dogs do when it's hot, more cool air, because the body is warmer than the outside air, even on a pretty warm day, hot day. So, because the nose is supposed to heat and moisten the air and does a lot of work. So that's a heating activity. So instead, there's two ways they say, like this, with your tongue kind of flat. So you're kind of like making a bong out of it, to filter the dirty air. And then there's another one when you really need it for your throat because you've been hitting the pipe too hard. Like this, okay, the Joker. And that basically takes a little cool stream of air directly into harder into your deeper layers, so you kind of get more cooling effect. But these therapies can also make you hiccup and stuff because they increase the upward. Sorry, this is actually the downward moving air. So sorry, the other therapies. So you have to be aware because certain conditions in your humor of gas can get aggravated if you overdo it and don't do it properly and listen to yourself and do it gently starting. So yeah, if you want to cool yourself, cooling is like think about sleeping, or heating is like think about reading or watching a really intellectually stimulating thing or doing hard physical labor, workout. That's heating, the sun. And then there's the cooling, and that's the two principles. And then there's also the heating, cooling, drying, and wetting. Dry and wet. And wet is also heavy. And Ayurveda is more thorough because it has like 20 different qualities, I think, to choose from to analyze the properties. It's like being doing observation as a scientist, So you can analyze. For example, right now I have white stuff coming out of my hair, flakes. That's kind of like fire, there's too much fire in my head, I guess, or my hair. Maybe actually I don't know. Well, it's dry too. You see how it's pretty dry? A little dry, yeah. So that's air, too much of the heating influence. Because I haven't oiled my hair for 3-4 days. But I think I did my beard, so it's looking luscious. Beard needs less than the hair. But yeah, so that's the principle of breath therapy, For example, addiction. You can cure any addiction just by resting your brain. Not with that substance or that activity, but with your own breath, your own power. So the masculine side and the feminine side, the left side. So you hold down the masculine side, which wants, think about women and men. Who attracts whom, Men are the suckers, usually, for women. And they exploit themselves to on the altar of, well, I don't want to be vulgar like Paul Elam, but, of the woman, So to please her. So they do a lot of sacrificing. So anyway, it's getting long, so let me finish up. So men usually fall for women. They're the weaker sex in terms of lust and so forth for the physical body. So if you lust after physical things like tobacco or